It's the most important position on the field, the quarterback. Who has the edge in the state of Florida right now? If you ask any Florida State, Florida, or Miami fans, they are probably going to argue for their guy. But today we are going to talk about the quarterback position at all three schools and who I think has the advantage in a couple of different areas. So let's first start with UF's quarterback room. The Florida Gators returned Graham Mertz, who, guys, overachieved in his first season with the Gators. He is a solid leader. His 43 career starts make him one of the 5 most experienced returning quarterbacks in the entire country. And when Florida signed Mertz, the expectations from fans and really honestly the media around the country were incredibly low. If you remember all of those lists that came out that ranked the SEC quarterbacks from top to bottom, Graham Mertz was routinely mentioned between spots 12 and 14. So very bottom of the barrel. We heard from pretty much everybody that Florida was going to be worse at the quarterback position by a long shot because of who was replacing Anthony Richardson. And listen, Anthony Richardson, we're talking about a first-round draft pick. That's a hard guy to replace. But I don't think that there's a person in this country that would argue that Graham Mertz didn't majorly overachieve last season. He set a program record 72.9% completion rating. That is pretty impressive. And instead of being one of the very worst quarterbacks in the SEC, as predicted by pretty much everybody, he ended up being one of the very most consistent in the conference. Not only does his return mean that the Gators have experience behind center, which is huge, but it also means that DJ Lagway doesn't have to start immediately. So let's take a minute and talk about DJ Lagway. 2024 signee. He is on campus right now as an early enrollee participating in spring, and he is probably one of the most important signees in recent memory. If Coach Napier is going to bring the Gators back to glory, many people believe it is going to be because of the arm of DJ Lagway. Lagway is huge for a guy who should still be in high school. 6'3", 241 pounds. He is the most accomplished high school player in the country for 2024, hands down. 4,604 passing yards, 957 rushing yards, 74 total touchdowns during his senior season at Willis High School in Texas. He was both the Gatorade National Player of the Year and the Max Prep National Player of the Year. And I don't know how often you guys follow these, but it is not common for the same player to win both of those awards. He is the 12th highest rated signee in the modern recruiting era for the Gators, but honestly, perhaps one of the very most meaningful. Fans have been very vocal in dubbing him the second coming of Tim Tebow. And listen, I personally think that that is a comparison that needs to be earned on the field. However, I do think we could see a combination of quarterbacks similar to what we saw during the 2006 season. Taking on the role of the starter and the team leader like Chris Leak was in 2006 would be Graham Mertz. And then DJ Lagway could become Tim Tebow-esque in the change of pace packages that could add just the amount of spark that this team needs. I think we could also see some other parallels from the 2006 season. And no, I am not predicting that Florida is going to be winning or even playing for a national title. But think back to that time if you've been a fan that long. There were times when fans called for Chris Leak to be replaced by Tim Tebow. And I think that we're probably going to see that happen at times this season as well, because DJ Lagway is so intriguing. He is so athletic. He is so highly rated. But I encourage everybody to remember back to that time period and realize that the Florida success that season was due to Chris Leak being the starter. And Florida will need to rely on the experience of Graham Mertz to have success this upcoming season. Bringing DJ Lagway along slowly is the way to make sure he develops long-term for the Gators. If you want him to be the quarterback of the future and the answer that Gator fans have been looking for, it is important for him to have the time to develop slowly and correctly. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Florida State quarterback room. Starter is going to be DJ Uiagalelei, which we're not going to say his last name anymore from here on out. He's going to be DJ U. Listen, he was just okay at Clemson. He did improve a little bit at Oregon State. He had a slightly better QBR than Jordan Travis in 2023. Threw more interceptions, but he is probably more durable than Jordan Travis is, which, listen, that's something that is going to be music to Florida State fans' ears. He's a bigger guy. That also means he's less of a run threat. If he takes another step forward under Coach Norvell, which Norvell has a decent track record, it could be a really good year for them, particularly against a very mediocre schedule. He could be very good for the Noles, and he's experienced. Florida State's backup is going to be Brock Glenn. He was a true freshman last year, and he looked like it, for sure. He was the quarterback when Florida State beat Louisville in the ACC championship game, and he game managed them to a win. Didn't make any major mistakes. He was also the quarterback when they got blown out by Georgia. And he was injured for half the season last year. He did get some good experience late, though, as the season went on. So, listen, not phenomenal last season, but got to cut his teeth a little bit. And that is important for your backup. Then they're going to have freshman Luke Kromenhoek. He is the number 3 quarterback nationally. He was a 5-star on On3, high 4-star in all of the other recruiting sites. He's got a lot of potential. Consistently, it has been said that he has the highest ceiling of any quarterback in the class. I don't know if I believe that because we've got DJ Lagway, but you can read that online, so somebody thinks it's somewhere. He's only played 2 seasons at quarterback for his high school. He won't be as ready as somebody like DJ Lagway. That's why he's ranked behind DJ Lagway, because he doesn't have quite the high school experience that guys like DJ Lagway do have. But he has a lot of upside. This is the guy that Florida State sees as their future quarterback. Just like Florida thinks that DJ Lagway is their guy, this is the guy that Coach Norvell and Florida State fans will be, dubbing the guy of the future. But again, he will be a freshman. So he, just like DJ Lagway, will want and need time to develop. Let's talk a little bit about the Miami quarterback room. Their starter is going to be Cam Ward. He was the 2nd highest rated quarterback in the portal. He had a really, really good season last year at Washington State. Originally, he declared for the draft, but he was probably a day 3 guy at best. So smarter move to come back. He came back, transferred to Miami. He should vastly improve their offense, which definitely struggled last season at times under Tyler Van Dyke. He did fumble a lot. Miami thinks that the number of fumbles can be lowered with a better offensive line. Concern is coaching here. Tyler Van Dyke was a highly sought-after quarterback when Mario got him to Miami as well. Unlike Norvell at Florida State, who seems to elevate his quarterback play. And, honestly, I think you can even throw Florida in there as well. If you think about what Graham Mertz accomplished at Wisconsin versus what he accomplished at Florida, I think that you would say that Mario Cristobal sometimes hampers their quarterback development. So what is going to happen with Cam Ward, who, again, really great season last year? The potential is there. Their backup, there's going to be a little bit of a battle there. Reese Poffenbarger played at ODU and Albany. Okay stats for that level. Not sure he'd have started even if Ward wasn't there. I think Miami would have gone and looked for somebody else. But we'll see how the transition to this level goes for him. I think that he is more of a backup guy. He was never going to be anybody's starter at this level. Emory Williams, he started some games when Tyler Van Dyke was hurt, sort of game managed Miami into a close game with Florida State, got hurt late, then he missed the rest of the season. But this is a guy with some experience there. And then Ja'Curry Brown, he is very athletic. but he already got passed over by a younger Emory Williams last season. So I'm not sure that he's going to factor in here a ton unless there's some growth happening this offseason that we're not aware of. I'm going to get right back to this. But first, I want to say that I appreciate Meldon Law for all of their support. If you are hurt or in an accident in Gainesville, Ocala, Fort Lauderdale, or Lake City, make sure that you let our official partners and the official injury firm of the Florida Gators take care of you. They have a giveaway going on right now where you can win tickets to the Texas A&M baseball series this weekend. I'm going to link it in the description of this video so that you don't miss out on it. You want to enter, it doesn't cost you anything, and this is going to be a really fun series to see. All right, let's jump back into it. Okay, so who has the very best starter? All right, in all fairness, I would say that Cam Ward at Miami has the most potential here. Okay. This is the guy with the most potential talent. I think that Graham Mertz is the guy, though, that's going to be the starter that has the highest floor based on last season alone. Also, Graham Mertz is the only guy that's going to be starting his second season with these other schools. Florida State and Miami are going to have a new starter this season. Florida's the only one that returns their starter. So I think that I would lean Graham Mertz based on that experience, but Cam Ward has a higher ceiling. So if Miami gets this going, he could have a really productive season. Now, who has the best depth and is set up best for the future? I think this could be a toss-up between Florida State and Florida. We talked a little bit about Florida State having really some good depth there. They've got Brock Glenn returning, who has that experience at Florida State. Luke Kromenhoek is a guy that a lot of people are very high on. Florida State thinks he's their future. DJU, again, was a little bit better at Oregon State than he was against when he played for Clemson, but I don't know, guys. Florida is really set up well as well. They have DJ Lagway, who Florida believes is their quarterback of the future. If they could solidify a third guy, I would give this to Florida running away. But right now, they don't have that third guy. So spring will be really interesting to watch to see if there's somebody that emerges to really take that spot there. But what UF has that I don't think Miami or Florida State has, and this is kind of a wild card, is the ability to use Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway together. I don't know that anybody else can really utilize something like this. Think about Chris Leak and Tim Tebow in 2006. Graham Mertz will be Florida's starter at the very least at the beginning of the season, but I think all the way through. DJ Lagway has that change of pace spark in him. He can use his feet just as well as he can use his arm. I think that we will see some major packages for him inserted into games, and it will really help the Florida Gators. I don't think Miami or even Florida State with Luke Kromenhoek has quite that same option like the Gators do. So, if you're going to give Miami the very slight edge for starter potential and maybe FSU the very slight edge for depth of the room, I honestly like where Florida is sitting best out of all three of these schools overall because of the experience of Graham Mertz, because he was Florida's starter last year as well, and he's proven himself to be a great leader, and just that potential magic that DJ Lagway could bring in special packages this season. So what are your thoughts? I know we're going to have a bunch of Gator comments saying that UF has the number one quarterback room in the state, but what do you agree and disagree with about the certain aspects we talked about? Who do you have as the second best room in the state? I want to hear from you. Let's talk about it down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are inching closer to 10,000 subscribers. Help us get there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. And as always, go Gators.